If anger had a sound, it wouldn't be a roar. It would be the quiet click you hear right before you say something you can't unsay. Because anger rarely feels like a choice in the moment. It feels like a reflex. Like your nervous system is grabbing the steering wheel. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of our anger isn't power. It's protection. A fast defense against embarrassment, disrespect, fear, feeling small, feeling ignored. And if you've ever walked away thinking, "Why did I react like that?" You're not broken. You're human. In this video, we'll use Stoic wisdom to dismantle anger at its roots, not by suppressing it, not by pretending you don't feel it, but by training your mind to slow down, reframe, and choose. Seneca said, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." So, if this topic hits you, if you've been trying to control your reactions and you're tired of starting over, stay with me until the end, because the final chapter will give you a simple daily practice that rebuilds self-control fast. And if you want more videos like this, practical Stoicism you can actually use, tap like now so YouTube knows to show you more of it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Chapter 1. Why anger feels so fast. Anger feels fast because it is fast. Psychologically, anger is often a secondary emotion, meaning it arrives after something else. Before anger, there's usually hurt, fear, shame, anxiety, disrespect, or powerlessness. But anger is louder than those emotions, so it takes the stage. But underneath, you might be afraid you're not taken seriously. That's why you can be angry at a rude comment, or you feel embarrassed, or you feel like you're losing control. The Stoics noticed something important about this. They believed anger isn't created by events. It's created by the meaning we attach to events. Epictetus said, "External things are not the problem, it's your judgment about them." So the insult isn't the fire. The story you tell yourself is the fire. He disrespected me. I can't let that slide. This always happens to me. They don't value me. If I don't react, I'm weak. That story triggers the nervous system. Heart rate rises. Breathing tightens. Vision narrows. The mind becomes obsessed with winning, and suddenly your intelligence disappears for 30 seconds. Here's the first Stoic move. Catch the story. Not the anger, not the person, not the situation. Catch the story. Because if you can intercept the story, you can intercept the reaction. And if you've ever felt like you became someone else when angry, that's not your true self. That's your survival brain. So before we talk about controlling anger, we have to understand it. Anger is usually your mind trying to protect your identity, which means the real battle isn't with other people. It's with your interpretation. Chapter 2. The cost of anger. Anger promises strength, but it charges interest. Marcus Aurelius said, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Think about that. The cause might be small, a mistake, a rude tone, traffic, a disagreement, a message left on read. But the consequence can be huge. Relationships damaged, trust broken, respect lost, opportunities ruined, your reputation stained. Seneca warned, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Anger is like lighting your own house on fire because someone knocked on the door too loud. You don't just burn them, you burn yourself. And it's not only social consequences. There are internal consequences too. Anger trains your brain. Every time you explode, your nervous system learns, this is how we handle stress. Temporary relief is the trap. Because anger does something addictive. It makes you feel powerful for a moment. But what is real power? Epictetus gives the harsh answer. No man is free who is not master of himself. If your emotions control you, you're not free. You're reactive. You're programmable. Chapter 3. The Stoic Weapon. Delay. If you learn only one Stoic tool for anger, learn this: delay. Seneca said, "The best remedy for anger is delay." Delay is not weakness. Delay is control. Anger wants speed. Stoicism wants space. Because in that space, you regain choice. Here's what happens when you delay. You stop feeding the emotion with more thoughts. You stop escalating. You stop turning a spark into a fire. Psychology calls this response inhibition, the ability to pause before reacting. And it's a skill, not a personality trait. A skill. Here's a Stoic delay practice you can use today, the 90-second rule. When you feel anger rise, say this silently. Give it 90 seconds. Not because anger magically disappears in 90 seconds, but because your body's chemical surge starts to drop if you stop feeding it. During those 90 seconds, 1. Relax your jaw. 2. Unclench your hands. 3. Exhale slowly. 4. Ask, what story am I telling right now? That last question is everything. Because your anger is often a sentence in your head. Change the sentence, change the emotion. A Stoic doesn't try to win the moment. A Stoic tries to win the mind. Chapter 4. Your judgment is the switch. Epictetus said, external things are not the problem, it's your judgment about them. In modern words, your mind doesn't react to reality. It reacts to interpretation. Stoics separate what happened from the meaning you add. Getting cut off becomes disrespect. Criticism becomes, I'm incompetent. And an ignored message becomes, they don't care. Now, here's the Stoic shift. You don't control the event. You control the judgment. And when you control the judgment, you control your response. Marcus Aurelius noted, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. That doesn't mean you pretend nothing matters. It means you refuse to add poison to your own mind. Because anger often begins when we decide, this should not be happening. Stoicism says, it happened. Now choose. This is not passive. It's disciplined. Chapter 5. Anger and the ego. The hidden insecurity. Most anger is ego pain. Not ego like arrogance. Ego as identity. Anger often says, you can't treat me like that. But what is me? Your reputation, your pride, your sense of being respected, your need to feel in control. So the real trigger is usually, I feel smaller than I want to feel. That's why some people get angry at tiny things. Because tiny things poke a big insecurity. Stoicism attacks insecurity by building inner strength. It moves your value from outside to inside. Epictetus says, freedom is self-mastery. No man is free who is not master of himself. So when someone tries to provoke you, Stoicism asks, are you going to hand them the remote control to your emotions? Here's a key Stoic reflection. If someone can control your mood with one sentence, you're not in charge. You're not leading your life. You're being led. And that's why anger feels shameful later. Because you realize, I gave away my power. Now, the goal is not to become emotionless. The goal is to become unshakable. When anger rises, ask yourself this question: is this about the moment or my ego? If it's ego, delay. If it's safety, act calmly. If it's misunderstanding, communicate. If it's disrespect, set boundaries without rage. Stoicism doesn't remove boundaries, it removes chaos. Chapter 6. Other people. The Stoic reframe. One of the hardest parts of anger is other people, because people can be rude, selfish, careless, and unfair. So what do the Stoics do with that reality? They use perspective. Marcus Aurelius had a brutal but freeing idea. If someone does wrong, it is because they are mistaken about what is good, meaning people act from what they believe, even when they're wrong, even when they're destructive. This doesn't excuse bad behavior, it explains it. And explanation removes obsession. Because anger often comes from personalization. They did this to me, but often people do what they do because of them. Their habits, their wounds, their ignorance, their immaturity, their stress. When you internalize that, anger loses fuel. Marcus also wrote another powerful line: to be angry at something means you've forgotten. Everything that happens is natural. Natural doesn't mean good. Natural means humans behave like humans. So the Stoic prepares for it. The Stoic expects people will be impatient, people will be selfish, people will misunderstand, people will disappoint. And because the Stoic expects it, the Stoic is less shocked. Less shock means less anger. Try this daily line in the morning. Today I will meet people who are stressed, selfish, and careless. I will not be surprised. I will not hand them control of my mind. That one sentence can reduce your anger before it even begins. Chapter 7. Turn anger into a mirror. Here's a painful truth. Anger reveals you. Epictetus said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings." That doesn't mean blame yourself for everything. It means anger is information. Ask, why did that hit me so hard? What does it threaten in me? What am I afraid of losing? What insecurity is being exposed? Sometimes your anger is a wound being touched. Sometimes it's pride. Sometimes it's the need to be right. Sometimes it's control. The Stoics loved using anger as training, because every time you feel it, you have a chance to become stronger. Think about that. Anger is not only a problem, it's a practice arena. So instead of saying, "I shouldn't feel this," say, "This is my training moment." Then apply delay. Apply judgment. Apply perspective. Over time, your brain learns a new loop: trigger, pause, reframe, calm action. That's mastery. And when you start mastering anger, something beautiful happens. Your confidence rises. Because you stop fearing yourself. You stop thinking, "What if I lose it?" You know you can handle pressure. That is real strength. Chapter 8. What to do in the moment of anger. Here is a Stoic in-the-moment protocol you can follow like a checklist. Step 1. Name it. Say silently, "This is anger." Naming reduces emotional intensity. It pulls you back into awareness. Step 2. Delay. Seneca said, "The best remedy for anger is delay." Step 3. Separate event and judgment. Epictetus said, "External things are not the problem. It's your judgment about them." Ask, what happened? What story am I adding? Step 4. Choose not to be harmed. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This is where you reclaim power, not by pretending, by deciding. Step 5. Act with control, not emotion. If you need to speak, speak slower. Lower your tone. Use fewer words. A calm person with few words is terrifying, in a good way, because it shows self-control. And if you're dealing with someone who wants a reaction, calmness is the ultimate boundary. One more Stoic warning to keep in your pocket. Seneca said, "It is better to conquer anger than to be conquered by it." That's the choice in the moment. Conquer it or become it. If you're still here, you're serious about changing, and that already puts you ahead of most people. Chapter 9. Anger, Power, and True Freedom. Let's talk about freedom. Most people think freedom means, I can say whatever I want. Stoicism says freedom means, I can control myself. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Anger is slavery, because it forces you to act. It forces you to speak. It forces you to punish. And then it leaves you holding the damage. So Stoicism replaces anger with something stronger: purpose, discipline, character. Marcus Aurelius gave one of the most challenging lines: waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And Epictetus echoed it: don't explain your philosophy, embody it. In other words, don't talk about being calm. Practice calm. Don't post quotes about discipline. Live discipline. The goal is not to look stoic. The goal is to be stoic under pressure, because your true character isn't revealed when life is easy. It's revealed when someone pushes the button. So the next time anger rises, ask, who do I want to be right now? That question alone can stop an outburst. Chapter 10. The daily practice that rebuilds self-control. Now we bring it home. You don't master anger with one moment. You master anger with a system. Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. Anger control is mental labor. So here's a daily Stoic practice that takes 5 minutes and changes your reactions over time. It has 3 parts. Part 1. Morning intention, 60 seconds. Say, today I will meet stress, disrespect, delays, and misunderstandings. I will not be surprised. I will delay. I will choose my judgment. Part 2. Midday reset, 2 minutes. Ask, what story am I telling today that is making me tense? Then rewrite it in one calmer sentence. Example, old story, nobody respects me. New story, some people are stressed, I'll stay steady. Part 3. Night review, 2 minutes. This is classic Stoicism. Ask 3 questions. 1. Where did I feel anger today? 2. What judgment created it? 3. What will I do next time? This trains your brain the same way athletes train muscle: repetition. And over time, you become the person who doesn't explode. Not because you're naturally calm, because you practiced. And when your anger is under control, your life changes. Relationships become safer. Work becomes easier. Respect increases. Your self-esteem rises because you trust yourself again. Because nothing is more exhausting than being afraid of your own reaction. Before you go, remember this. Seneca warned us, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. So don't make your life harder than it already is. You don't have to win every moment. You just have to stop losing yourself. That's real strength. And if you got value from this, Please like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe. Thank you.